Now that it's daylight in Oklahoma, crews will get a better look at how rescue efforts have gone overnight in tornado-damaged areas. The death toll stands at 51 right now, but that number will most likely climb. Emily Dean joins us live in the studio this morning. She's been in contact with a De Pere native who is currently living near where the deadly tornado touched down. Em?
Good morning, Rachel. Hi, everybody. Right now, I have Jessica Hopkemeyer on the phone. She currently lives in Oklahoma City, but she is a property manager at an apartment complex in Midwest City. Now, that's about 15 miles from Moore, Oklahoma. She joins us on the phone right now to tell us what she experienced when the storms touched down. Jessica, thank you so much for being with us this morning.
Thank you so much for having me.
Now, first of all, let's just go right into it. Tell us where you were and what you did once those storms hit.
Well, I was at work. I was in the office, and I kept my eye on the window because I knew the storms were coming. And within about 10 minutes, it started getting dark. So I got up. I actually started walking the property, knocking on every single door, because the city, unfortunately, due to funding issues and only about 10% of our residents using the shelters they provided, they ended up closing them this year. I wanted to make sure all of my tenants knew that we were sheltering in place. If they couldn't get out, they needed to get into their bathroom. I got about halfway done with the complex, and the first siren started going off. My assistant was in the office. I made her open some of the apartments that didn't have tenants in them that were on the first floor. I started telling people on the second floor that they can come down there when the sirens go off again. We got a call from the city to warn us that there was a tornado on the ground and it would be hitting us in about 15 minutes.
And Jessica, I know the images, that we're seeing are unbelievable. I could only imagine being there, experiencing it. You were watching other people as they were looking at the weather. What were they doing when the storms touched down? Some of them left, right? The area?
Yeah, I had about 5 people who ended up leaving. They told me they were going over to Mustang or Choctaw, which is the opposite direction. And lots of my tenants don't have cars. They can't just leave. Some of them were standing outside watching the storm, laughing. And when the second sirens turned on, they got a little panicked. Most of my tenants were sitting there watching the news. This is something they deal with every year. They had the news turned on. They were watching it. They were ready to go. They had their bags ready in their bathroom. They had already taken furniture and put it by the door.
And Jessica, you've been living in Oklahoma now for about a year. You're a De Pere native. We experience tornadoes once in a while, but something to this degree. Have you ever experienced something like this before?
When I was living in Hawaii, we had a tsunami, and even that it wasn't close to the level of destruction we've seen with the storm.
It is unbelievable, all the video that's coming in, the images that we're seeing. Now, your home is in Oklahoma City.
Yeah.
Was it in the path of the tornado? Tell me, did your home sustain any damage?
We did not have too much damage to the home. We had a few trees that had limbs taken off of them, but we're about 4 miles away from where a lot of the damage happened. And if it had not actually veered when it did, we would have been right in the path.
Unbelievable. Now, let's talk about what you're going to be doing now, the efforts that you're going to be taking, because you're going to be doing a lot of volunteer efforts. Tell me about that today.
Yeah, I personally am going to volunteer to do some of the cleanup efforts with the complex. I'm going to be sponsoring a blood drive. We're going to be getting that set up today, and I'm talking to my bosses to get some of our vacant apartments opened up so we can take in people who have lost their homes.
And we were talking about the victims too, you and I, earlier when we were on the phone. Did you know any of them? Did you know any of the people that were affected by this storm?
A lot of my coworkers and friends, they have family down there. I've actually got in-laws who live in the area, but they were not present. Most of the people were at work, so only the home sustained damage. We've got a lot of people we're very happy that are alive right now.
Yeah. Did anyone here in Wisconsin try to get a hold of you to see if you were okay? Did you get word back to them?
Yeah, I actually called my mom after we got out of the shelter, well, the bathroom. I called my mom. I said, hey, we're okay, because she's currently living in De Pere as well. I had texts from people I went to high school with. People I knew when I lived in Hawaii, they were texting me because this has made national news.
Oh, yeah. And you were telling me the people down there, you know, Mother Nature can strike like this, but the people are going to come together and rebuild no matter what, right?
Yeah, this community is actually a very resilient community. This kind of stuff happens. They had a big storm 10 years ago. They had a big storm only a couple years ago. My house was actually rebuilt in 2010 after a tornado took it down.
And Jessica, as you look up into the sky right now, what are you seeing today? What does it look like in the area you're at right now?
Well, north of me, it looks pretty clear. But off in the distance toward Moore, it looks pretty cloudy. They might get some rain today. And I just hope that the rescue efforts are able to get a lot of those people out of there if it storms again.
Well, Jessica, I thank you so much for your time this morning. We really appreciate it. I'm sure you had a long night. You're going through so much, but thank you so much for telling us your story and being with us today.
Thank you so much for having me.